On February 13th, 2017, 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German were murdered while walking on a nature trail in Delphi, Indiana. For 6 years, the men leading that investigation were trusted to conduct a thorough, competent, and honest investigation. They were afforded the benefit of the doubt at every turn in the hope that eventually justice for Abby and Libby would prevail. On October 26, 2022, Richard M. Allen was arrested in connection with the murders. Many believe that the silence and the secrecy of the investigation would finally come to an end, and that 6 years' worth of questions would finally be answered. Instead, what followed was a series of unprecedented moves by the police and the prosecutor to seal all information surrounding both the identification and the arrest of Mr. Allen, as well as all of the evidence against him. In the 16 months since Mr. Allen's initial arrest, this case has only grown more confusing. Police, prosecutor, and judge seem determined to keep Mr. Allen in the custody of the Indiana Department of Corrections in maximum security state facilities rather than in a county jail where all other pretrial defendants that are charged with serious crimes, including murder, are often held. Since October 2022, this case has seen one judge recuse himself, citing concerns for his safety and a public bloodlust for information, multiple transfers of the defendant from county jails to maximum security state facilities, evidence leaks involving crime scene photos and other protected discovery that eventually made their way into the public. The defense attorneys representing Mr. Allen were removed and kicked off the case by the presiding judge. And most recently, we saw 2 writs of mandamus that were filed and argued before the Supreme Court of Indiana, and that resulted in the recent reinstatement of Mr. Allen's original defense team. So how did we get here? It seems like the whole world is paying attention, and with all of these eyes on Delphi, Indiana, how is it possible that this case has gotten so complicated and so messy? Since the murders of Abby and Libby first occurred, the Delphi case has gained incredible amounts of attention and media coverage, both here in the US and throughout the world. That attention has only grown since the 2022 arrest of Richard Allen. One reason that the case may be so well known and so widely talked about is because the facts of this case are horrific. That 2 young girls could be brutally murdered in the middle of the afternoon in broad daylight while on a public walking trail defies logic and understanding. Another reason that this case may be so well known and so widely talked about is because it feels like a case that can be solved. There have been countless YouTube channels, podcasts, documentaries, and even books that have covered the Delphi case over the last 7 years. While there is no shortage of theories and beliefs about different suspects, the timeline, and the details of the crime itself, investigators, experts, and even the public generally agree that the person who committed these murders was more likely than not a local, or at the very least was someone who had intimate familiarity and knowledge of that area.
We also believe this person is from Delphi, currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here.
That case, to me, was a solvable kind of case. It's not a case where some stranger comes roaming into a community and just by the fluke, and this, I think it was like a winter day, he comes across this railroad trestle and he confronts these girls. There's this knowledge of the area. That's his comfort zone, that area there.
In 2019, the superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Douglas Carter, told the public during a press conference,
"We believe you are hiding in plain sight."
Many in the community of Delphi and beyond have attributed the arrest of Richard Allen to this very thing. We, the public, have been told that the arrest of Richard Allen occurred after a tip from the early days of the investigation was rediscovered in September of 2022. But what if that's not the whole story? Of the tens and thousands of tips that the Delphi investigators have received over the years, how is it possible that the interview of a man that says he was on the trails the day of the murders could be lost and or ignored for over 5 years? And what are the chances that that rediscovered tip would lead to the suspect in this case? What occurred in the days leading up to that? What was going on within the investigation? What was going on within the community? What if it's all a lie? Local politics, corruption, the various players involved in that. Just to summarize, the double homicide investigation fell under the jurisdiction of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Investigations into the deaths of Abby and Libby, as well as into the deaths of the 4 girls in Florida held in an arson fire in November 2016, was not well received. September 2021 campaign was in full swing. That's not the only thing that happened in September 2021.